about 8 years ago that we started building our Constructicon. We started with exclamative construction as a case study, since they were very well documented. First, to get an idea how we would like to have our Constructicon and our construction entries to look like. But since then, of course, a lot has happened. And so the first thing that happened is that we came up with the crazy idea to also implement a FrameNet, a German FrameNet, was also, of course, a lot of workload that then in addition need to be implemented to describe. And I think that's one basic idea of our Constructicon, in line with what also is one idea of the important idea of the Brazilian Constructicon, to describe constructions in terms of frames, and purely in terms of frames to the minute. So, for example, if there's no lexical frame that is appropriate for describing the meaning of a construction, that is, there are construction elements that can't be mapped on a core frame element, we have to come up with a new frame that can deal with the constructional meaning, hoping that other constructions will come in that also evoke this frame. Well, our infrastructure looks like that. So that's what you get if you visit our website. We have a form repository that includes all forms that have meaning. So from lexical, so all the continuum from lexical to the most basic schematics construction you could think of. We've got construction entries for all of these forms. Construction entries also include lexical entries in the sense that it is implemented in Berkeley FrameNet, and constructional entries for grammatical constructions, and we've got a FrameNet that includes all frames from lexical frames to grammatical frames to also, that's another project we're doing at the minute for pragmatic frames, that is frames evoked by units that convey some pragmatic contents like positioning and deictic kind of frames that are missing to a large extent in current Berkeley FrameNet. And we've got many mappings between constructional forms and frames. Most importantly, between frames. So frames are related by different relations that you might know from Berkeley FrameNet. So there is an FE to FE mapping between these frames. If a construction evokes a frame, then of course this relation is also included and annotated. Then constructions are connected to one another also by the same types of relations. We also provide construction element to construction element mapping, and frames are clustered as well as constructions in terms of the families they belong to. So one simple example, we have got many different ways to convey an exclamative function. So all constructions that do that are part of the exclamative construction family. We come back to this later. But beyond the curtains, of course, a lot is going on as well. What's of interest, I guess, for us here too. So the infrastructure includes a lot of tools, for example, data mining tools to exploit data sets with diverse constructicographic web interfaces. We so far we exploited existing data, the eValue dictionary, that's an electronic dictionary provided by the Institute of German Language based on valency grammar. We used that to come up with a German FrameNet to use data for feeding our German FrameNet. We use, of course, Berkeley frames as a starting point, and we also use the SALSA data. You might know that Manfred Pinkal quite a while ago with Josef Ruppmhofer and some other guys built German FrameNets, and they annotated quite a few data. We were surprised how many annotations they had, and they are also integrated in our German FrameNets. And I think we are so far the only one doing that. We understand conceptual metaphors as frame of their own kind. So we use the MetaNet data from Lakoff et al. As a starting point to create conceptual metaphor frames that are also fully integrated in our system. UD parsing line is integrated, and quite a few constructicographic tools for annotation and for compiling entries were also developed. Well, and what we are up to now, of course, is find new constructions, create new frames that describe the meaning in a good way. So we need pragmatic frames in top of lexical frames and also grammatical frames. This is how our one of our GUI looks like for compiling constructional entries. Here on the right-hand side, you can see this is the basic structure of the entry that you can see if you visit our website. So there's a construction, an illustrating example, a definition, a further specification, the resources we use, the construction evoking element is described, the construction element is defined, and so-called correlating elements. These are elements that support the basic function of the construction without having the status of a construction element. So that's an additional element that we integrated. And that's current work. We also try, going back to Thomas' idea, we would like to have colo profiles for each construction. So using information that we get from corpora to provide information about frequent LUs or part of speeches or part of speech, or also more complex one like multi-words units or the pattern that are specific for the construction elements to be that are illustrative for them. So going back to the Stefanovic and Gries work on color structure analysis. This is how the alignment of construction elements to frame elements work. So once you have a frame that is evoked by a construction, you align the construction elements to the frame elements, and in case there's no core elements to be accounted for in the frame, this obviously indicates that the frame is not appropriate. So you have to create a new frame that is appropriate for the construction. Same problem again.
Oh, okay. It's because I have to allow someone in.
Ah, I see. Okay, I think now it's working again. No?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let me give you a few numbers and facts about our project. We have currently 1,252 frames, including 108 conceptual metaphor frames, and we have 267 constructions. So not as much as the Swedish Constructicon, but we're on our way. And we also have, as Alexander said, relations between our constructions and frames. And right now we have 149 construction to frame relations and more to come. As you also heard, we have frame families and construction families. The 454 frame families are based on an algorithm that shows family candidates on frame-to-frame relations, and our 35 construction families are based on shared functions or meanings. And we also have form construction families. And if we have shared meanings in a construction family, then the constructions are motivated by the evoked frames. Usually they share the same evoked frame or frames in a family. And to see this connection, we do our mappings between constructions and frames. And we also map, as you've seen, CEs to FEs to see if the meaning is close enough. And right now we have 15 postdocs and PhD students and 12 research assistants. Great team. And we all have different experts for different stuff. So we have 5 working groups. We have a group for the infrastructure. You've seen a little bit of this. We have, as you heard, the data mining and processing working group just for this. We have, of course, a FrameNet group, a Constructicon group, and also a conceptual metaphor group. So very much men and women power.
You don't need all those. You can take some of them.
We like them.
Unfortunately, times will get worse. So we'll be, at the minute we've got quite a solid financial support, but as you know, times change. But that's another thing that's not part of our talk actually. So very briefly, multilingual application. Well, I think some parts are quite clear. So we've got a variety of tools and applications that we like to share, if that makes sense for multilingual constructicography purposes. That also applies to our annotation tool and the annotation that we do. We use, I think that might be another topic to be discussed later on. So far, basically, frames and families of frames and family as a constructions as means to structure our Constructicon in functional terms. So we haven't incorporated conceptual comparative concepts yet, but I mean, families of construction, families of frames could be another way to look at the structure or to provide some ideas how a structure of a Constructicon could look like. Our annotation tool allows for character-based annotation and also for annotations that goes beyond the sentence borders. And we could also annotate null instantiation, what's important for both construction, but even more importantly for frame annotation. For full text annotation, we also could create ad hoc categories that are not part of the text set, and the text set is provided by each construction of frame entry that's already in the system. So both ways are possible using predefined text sets and using free text sets. Well, comparative concepts, that's our last point, are not integrated yet, except for frames, of course. One thing that needs to be discussed, I think Jago mentioned that already, is that, of course, we had to change some frames due to the validation process that we went through by integrating the data from the different projects. Not that many frames actually needed to be changed, but some, and of course, further lexical frames and also other types of frames evolved. So they are not part of our shared FrameNet data. So it's kind of hard to use them for multi-constructicographic purposes. Again?
There's none.
No, it's okay, sorry. Comparative concepts so need to be integrated for facilitating cross-linguistic alignment, enriching construction entries, and finding related constructions. And well, I hope that in some way or other, some ideas will emerge from this workshop. And I'm pretty sure that this will be the case. So once I leave tomorrow late, I probably have a great idea of what kind of comparative concepts we have to implement next. So yeah, being on the same construction site, so we are very much looking forward for our joint multilingual constructicography.